Hello, how are we? We're doing something a bit different today. We're doing something actually banding related today. We're doing something that I didn't think I'd have the opportunity to do, to be honest, because I didn't think anybody would watch these, and people are, and that's very nice to know. And this video has been requested. We got sent a really lovely email by a lovely young player who doesn't want a name on here because she doesn't want to be embarrassed, which is fair enough, but you know who you are. Thank you very much. And she asked if I could do a video talking about nerves and performance anxiety, those two things that we love so much. It was a really good idea because there are contests still going ahead. There's Rochdale at the end of this week, and then obviously we start again next year with Butlins, the area. It all starts again in January. So I think it's a very good idea to have suggested that, so thank you very much. Also during this video I'm going to be talking about ways to deal with nerves and anxiety, is preparing yourself musically, preparing yourself mentally by learning to think positively and learning to handle this thing inside of your head, and also physically, looking after yourself physically is very important. So I've kind of touched upon all those things. I hope this is helpful, and if you do have any tips or tricks yourself for dealing with performance anxiety, let's all help each other. Pop them down in the comments. Yeah, without any further ado, I will stop waffling and get into this video, so I hope you find it helpful. Yes, I do have my glasses on because I have to read things that I've written, and I'm getting old, so I can't really see that from here without these on. Apologies for the really bad lighting because it's currently 8 o'clock at night and it's winter and it's dark, so sorry about that. Anyway, so the first thing I want us to think about is our relationship with nerves and performance anxiety. Now that sounds weird because we hate them, we don't like them. We think nerves are bad, performance anxiety, bad. But let's try and turn that on its head. So think of something that you do on a regular basis that you don't care about, you're not bothered about, you don't get nervous for. Something like doing the shopping, for example. You don't get to Tesco's and go, oh my days, I hope I don't forget the bread, I hope I don't forget the onions and the tin of beans and the pint of milk and the packet of Doritos, I hope I don't forget them. You don't worry about it, you go and you do it, and if you forget something you don't go, oh my days, it's the end of the world. You don't care. Feeling nerves is good because it means you care. Okay? It means that you want to do well, you want to play the best that you can, you want the band to do well, you want to come in the placings, you want all this hard work that you've spent on this piece to not count for nothing, and that's good. So going out on stage with no nerves, for me, it'd make me feel like I don't care then. If I'm not nervous, I'm not bothered. So being nervous is a good thing. So if you are feeling nervous on the contest day, take that as, well, I do care, which makes you a good musician. You care about your performance and you want to do well. That's good. That is a positive thing. Dealing with nerves is not something you can just deal with on the day. There's lots of things that you need to do beforehand to help you deal with it on the day. They always say if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And so let's look at before the contest. So a few weeks before the contest. Note bashing, constantly running the piece and playing nothing but the piece for weeks and weeks, not helpful. When you go to your rehearsals, be active in your rehearsals. Look at the bits that aren't going as well. Note them down, put great big arrows, crosses, stars, love hearts, smiley faces next to them for what you need to practice when you get home. And then when you get home, practice just those bits that you're struggling with. Get them under your fingers and then put them away and play something else. Play a piece that you like, or an exercise, or scales, or Old Man River, anything other than the contest piece. Because you're bashing your contest piece every day for hours and hours, you're going to knack your lip, you're going to get bored of the piece. Remember, you're going to 2 rehearsals a week, and then all week rehearsals and sectionals in the middle of that. You're going to be playing this piece a lot, so you want to keep it fresh. And also, these parts of the piece that you think, oh god, that's tricky, becomes an overthinking. If you're constantly bashing the piece, put it away every now and again and play something else. So we think music and performing is a mental, emotional kind of thing. We don't really think about the physical effects of performing and there's 3 main things I want you to think about weeks before you even step foot on that contest stage, and that is food, sleep and water. Now this sounds very obvious, but we forget this on a regular basis, especially if we're busy or we have lots of rehearsals to do, we're working, you might have kids, you might have a dog, a goldfish that you have to think about all the time. That's quite a high maintenance goldfish. If you are a person that does get nervous or gets anxious before a performance, these feelings are heightened because your body is not working to its full capacity. You're not able to deal with it mentally properly because your body's tired, or your body's hungry, or your body's thirsty. It's like that game, do you know The Sims, where you've got these little people with little green things on their head, and they have needs, and you have to fulfill those needs in order to carry on playing the game. In order for you to carry on playing the game, you need to fulfill those needs. Make sure that you're getting your sleep. Make sure you're drinking water. Your body needs it. I was recommended that I should drink 2 litres of water 2 weeks before my contest, every day for 2 weeks before my contest. Because when you're nervous, part of the fight or flight response, which is nerves, is your mouth going dry, which we don't want that. Spitting feathers is not an option. We want to be spitting notes. That sounds vile. Psychologically, I've been drinking water, I should be fine. It's one less thing to think about. Why I'm doing this is not a good action. The one in the morning, stay away from caffeine. Oh, it's very tempting, especially if you're up early in the morning, to drink a cup of coffee before you go on stage. Drink plenty of water, because our body does not need caffeine. It is a trick sent to us by Kenko, okay? We don't actually need caffeine. Water naturally raises your blood pressure and naturally wakes you up. So if you're feeling a bit tired on the contest morning, you shouldn't be because you should have slept, but if you are feeling tired on the contest morning, drink plenty of water and carry a water bottle around you all the time. Water is so important. Food as well, it's looking after your body's physical needs. Make sure, if you don't feel like you can eat breakfast in the morning, like I don't, especially if it's the morning of a contest and you're feeling a little bit of a flutter of nerves, eat some cereal, eat 1 piece of toast, eat a banana, an apple, eat something. But driving a car, if you don't fill it up with the right kind of stuff, it ain't gonna run, and you ain't gonna run. It's very easy, and again, I know from experience because I do this in my everyday life, it's so easy to think negatively, especially about a performance. It's so easy to think, I might trip on stage, I might mess that note up, I might not get that solo right, I might drop me mute, I might sneeze in the quiet section, we might come last. When you're in your rehearsals, start noticing what a good performance feels like. So if you've got a solo to do and you play it well, notice how it feels. When you do it in your personal practice, notice what makes a good performance. How are you breathing? How are you playing those notes? What are you doing stylistically? Make sure you're logging it in. Don't just play absent-mindedly. Again, I'm talking about active rehearsals and active practice. Notice what's going well. And this is where I went wrong. I was constantly looking for the negatives, constantly looking for things I was doing wrong. And when you go on the contest stage, that's what you end up thinking about. Lastly, visualise success. You could do very well. Yes, you might drop a mute and you might sneeze in the piano section, but you might also play fantastically. You might absolutely smash that last note. You might play a solo fantastically well. Your section might come in on time perfectly. You all stare at each other at the end of the section going, wow, that was good. We all breathe on a regular basis. We know how to breathe. And as brass players, you will know this type of breathing anyway. But we know when we breathe normally, we're breathing shallowly into the top of our chest. But when we breathe for brass playing, we're breathing into our diaphragm. Breathe all the way out, so your entire lungs and your diaphragm is completely empty. You've got no air inside of you at all. So breathe all the way out. The ways of doing this is breathing in for 4 and then breathing out for 4. Treat it as if you were playing a semi-breathe, so control it right until the end of the note, and if you've still got a bit of air left in you, push that last bit of air out so you're completely empty, and then same again. By the time you get to 4, you should have no room for air inside of you at all, and then breathe it out as if you were doing a semi-breathe, and do that for as long as it takes till you start feeling calm again, because deep breathing does bring your heart rate down, which can help deal with nerves. So 5 minutes. Take it for yourself. Don't take your phone with you, don't take the piece with you, don't take your instrument with you. Just go and find 5 minutes in a quiet place and do your breathing. So then you get out on stage, you sit down, and then you have that quiet, everyone stops shuffling and fiddling and messing about with things, and everyone's just kind of sitting there and you're waiting for the adjudicator's whistle. Now at that point, if you're like me, you kind of look out to the audience, and that's when you can get another flutter of nerves, because there's a whole load of people sat there watching you, and it is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it is a bit scary. 2 things I want you to think about with the audience as well. They're made up of 2 types of people, banders and non-banders. Now, you don't have to worry about the non-banders because they can't do what you're doing. Yes, they can sit there and go, oh, that was a bad performance, oh, how's she playing that, oh, that's rubbish. What do they know? They can't do what you're doing, otherwise they'd be sat where you're sat. And if they're banders, are you telling me that they've never had a bad performance in their life? If any bander comes up to you and judges your performance and then says that they've never had a bad performance, they're lying. So these last few thoughts I want you to know before you ever go out on the contest stage. You, yourself, are not responsible for the band's performance, okay? You're responsible for your performance. There is no I in band. You alone are not responsible for where that adjudicator places you. And again, another note on that, if you are a person that worries about placings, don't start looking at the previews and predictions. Don't look at them. It's one less thing you don't need to think about. Another thing to think about is that, yes, good performances and winning performances or getting in the placings is fabulous. Bad performances are a learning curve. Just focus on, oh, I played really bad and I'm a bad player. You're not a bad player, it was just not your best performance. You've got better performances to come, and use these experiences to fuel that better performance. And finally, the only thing, I've said you're not responsible for the adjudicator's placing, I've said you're not responsible for the band's playing as a whole. The thing you are responsible for is your enjoyment of this contest, what you're getting out of it. So prepare as much as you can with everything I've said before, look after yourself as much as you can, and go and enjoy it, and it's why we do it. Go and play the best that you can, and then go and have a laugh afterwards. So I hope this helped, and to the lovely young player that sent me the email, thank you very much, and I hope this helped you.